This very evening, the people of Chaganhada village are busy working. 68-year-old Kang Jing-chin, who lives south of the village, is harvesting hawthorns in the courtyard. 61-year-old Xing Gu-ying, who lives in the east, is busy crushing walnuts, while Wang Fu-chuan, who lives in the west, is harvesting all the peanuts and sweet potatoes in the field. They aren't alone. Everyone in the village is busy working very hard today. They are preparing for the 206th Neighborhood Festival, which will take place in 2 days. Chaganhada village is mainly inhabited by Mongolians. No criminal case has been recorded here since the founding of the People's Republic of China. There have been no civil lawsuits amongst the people either. Moreover, no one in the village today has ever gone through a divorce or separation from their spouse. Is there a connection between the 206-year-old neighborhood festival and the fact that the villagers are able to maintain good relationships with their neighbors as well as within their own families? How did this festival get started? The neighborhood festival is called Huyin Bayar in the Mongolian language. Every year during the festival, villagers worship their ancestors. 23 monuments are set up in the White Lotus Tower in remembrance of the original 23 families in the village. The ancestors began this tradition to teach the descendants that even though not everyone comes from the same family, they should live in harmony.
Goodwill is expressed in the neighborhood festival, as is the joy of harmony, the joy of the family, and the solidarity of ethnic groups, and the preservation of ecological balance.
During the festival, the whole village gathers to read the Lotus Sutra and seek blessings for the health and safety of the villagers. They have been doing this since the very first neighborhood festival. In the year 1808, a number of newborns in Chaganhada were infected with smallpox. The virus spread quickly. To keep the disease under control, the whole village united by helping and taking care of each other. To commemorate the unity that helped the village through this difficulty and to educate their descendants on appreciating their neighbors, the people of the village decided that the 15th of the 10th month in the lunar calendar would thereafter be the neighborhood festival. And so the belief that neighbors should live in harmony lives on to this day. 3 kilometers away from the village stands a magnificent structure called the Ruying Temple. Construction began in 1669 and was completed in 1705. 14 families of workers from 3 clans, the Zhaos, the Wangs, and the Baos, were granted the right to live nearby for later repairs and upkeep. As time passed, approximately 20 families gradually moved here, forming the Chaganhada village we see today.
These 3 doctrines, harmony, solidarity, and compassion, have always been crucial characteristics of people living in Chaganhada village, and villagers try to abide by these 3 aforementioned principles.
There are 3,600 lamas with names. There are even more who remain unnamed. That's how Ruying Temple was once known. In its glory days, almost every family had a member who became a monk at the temple. Qi Shufang's father was once one of them. He was familiar with everything about the temple because he spent his childhood there.
When I was little, my family was very poor and I would go hungry. We would go visit a lama to intentionally steal steamed buns from him. After a few days, he found out that we had stolen his steamed buns. Not only did he not blame us, but the next day he made a couple more buns for us to take home.
The villagers have long placed filial piety above everything else. Respecting and loving the elderly is a foundation of a harmonious family. 4 generations often live under the same roof. Taking care of the elderly is a virtue that has been passed down for hundreds of years. Song Shuying, Qi Shufang's mother, is already 82 years old. As an only child, he has been taking care of his mother for the past 30 years. Qi Shufang shows us the embroidery his mother made when she was young.
This is called embroidered rui. The Mongolians' interpretation is that people shall be united and become harmonious. It is all reflected here. Take a look at the pattern. One after the other, just like people who are holding hands. As you can see, that is what the traditional culture of our ethnicity is telling us. That there is a limit to one person's power and capability. It's just like a single chopstick. Only when people are working well together will it be easy for them to solve their problems in life. So this symbolizes that harmony and solidarity are precious and do not focus on rewards when doing things. To put it in today's terminology, you should be on good terms with your neighbors and those around you. As long as you are united, you can do anything and the money will follow.
With such delicate embroidery and well-preserved books, the ancestors of the village remind their descendants that harmony and solidarity with one's neighbors is the key to the prosperity and growth of Chaganhada. The Chaganhada villagers take care not only of the elderly in their own families, but also the elderly lamas in Ruying Temple. They treat the lamas as if they were members of their own family. Chi Shufang has been taking care of an old lama who is now 88. This lama was once the head abbot of Ruying Temple.
He was my father's classmate. That is our relationship. We are not related by blood. Please, after you.
Hello, hello, hello. 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 Thank you. Thank you. How long have you been living? How many years have you been living with Mr. Chi as of now?
For 20 years.
20 years. So can you tell us, are there a lot of people like you who take care of llamas when they grow very old?
Yes, a lot in our village. In this area, I'm not the only one doing it. Everyone's doing it. When they see elderly people on their own, they will bring them food and bring them to their own home and look after them.
Like Chi Shufang, every family in the village should take care of the old lamas. The traditional Chinese virtue of putting filial piety above all other virtues is practiced among the residents living in Chaganhada village. This culture of piety, harmony, and kindness remains strong. Baofeng Yu is the head of the Research Institute of Tourism and Culture in Fumeng County. He has been studying the history and culture of Mongolians in Fuxin for a long time. 6 years ago, he moved his focus to Chaganhada.
The Mongolian culture, called the Ha culture, has had a direct impact on the culture of Chaganhada village over the years. Regarding the Ha culture, we know of a Mongolian proverb that says something like, if you have a Nakur who knows you by heart, everything will go smoothly in life. The word Nakur in this context means friend. As long as you have one, we don't need to seek material fortune. All we want is good neighbors surrounding us. That is what our ethnic culture says, and that's how we will live as well.
In Chaganhada, the elderly take precedence. There is a caucus of elders made up of the oldest in each family. Everything in the village is decided democratically by these elders. Bai Boshan oversees all the elders in the village. He is also the former village party secretary. For a long time, the elders have been following the principle that when someone is in trouble, everyone should help out. The elders serve as the checks and balances in the village. They also organize the annual neighborhood festival.
We are 2 days away from the 206th Huyen Bayar Neighborhood Festival. Let's have a meeting to prepare. How many guests do we have? In terms of the meat kanji, how much meat are we getting? How much rice do we need?
People from several villages will join us during the festival. The Han people and the Mongolians, they'll eat the kanji. So, we should have plenty prepared.
Last year we cooked 190 kilos of rice for the feast.
We need more. We need at least 225 to 250 kilos.
In preparation for the festival, details must be discussed, from the number of guests to be invited to what kind of bowls and chopsticks to use. The group will take into account the elderly with mobility issues so that no one is left behind on the day of the festival.
Whoever has mobility issues and cannot come, will arrange transportation for them so they can be here.
Xing Fushen's wife will need transportation to get here.
Ah, Xing Fuchen, correct?
And Chen Shubao's mother, she's in group 5.
Tushima. Her name is Tushima. She is 88 years old. 88 then.
There are no genealogical records in Chaganhada village. However, there are rules that are passed down from generation to generation. What kind of principles have been able to allow the villagers to get along with each other for hundreds of years?
Seeking solidarity is better than seeking food. Seeking friendship is better than seeking wealth. I'm referring to the Shu family. His name is Shu Baohai. His family has strict rules when it comes to neighborhood relationships. The rules dictate that they shall treat their neighbors as their own brothers. Anyone home? Come out!
Coming.
Their family rules are reflected in the couplets.
What did they say?
Please tell her.
It's a family of good fortune and happiness. And it's a living place for harmony and progress. Do you see? And up here it says, a happy neighborhood.
A happy neighborhood? So I suppose that you were taught to practice this principle ever since you were a
Yes,
child.
that's correct.
The couplets on the doors are merely reminders of what the villagers have taken to heart. Bai Baoshan tells us that every family has house rules and couplets like this. However, they differ in content. Some are about respecting the elderly. Some are about sibling solidarity. Most are about a harmonious neighborhood. New couplets are hung every year, but their core message remains the same.
Hi.
Could you kindly
Hello.
tell us what the couplets in your home mean?
This is a happy married couple forever.
Over here?
It says partners that will make a good living.
Essentially, it expresses the thought that if you have a happy family,
Yes,
everything
that
will
is
be
right.
good.
Even though the couplets express wishes for a happy marriage, the couple living here have gone through a divorce. What could have happened? 7 years ago, Chi Cho-jen opened a restaurant against her husband's wishes. When she lost her investment, her husband Ding Shigo initiated the divorce.
She lost all our money opening the restaurant that time. I worked for a whole year and made little money. We cannot live like this. There is no way.
After a big fight, he said that was it. He wanted a divorce. I said okay.
Sounds like it was a big fight.
Correct. He was angry at me. I was feeling down as well. I didn't want to lose money. I wanted to make some money for my family. Who would have thought that I would lose my entire investment?
So, could you tell us, how did you two end up reconciling?
My mother's house is about 25 kilometers away from here. Secretary Bai visited us several times and asked me to come back. He said that my parents-in-law have been waiting for me at home. They were running the household and wanted me to come back.
Bai Baoshan, head of the elders, talked Chi Cho-jen and her husband into getting back together. After they were remarried, the couple put up the villagers' first rural experience restaurant. Shi Shujen cooked while her husband waited on the guests. They worked closely with each other, and their business boomed.
Last year, our old house was in such a state of disrepair it was falling to pieces. It was barely standing up. Then we built a new house last year. The main room, the side room, and the courtyard were built last year. Altogether, we have spent 270,000 yuan on the house.
Chi Chu-jen and her husband are living proof that a harmonious family is a foundation of success. So every year, when it is time to hang the couplets, their door has a couplet on the importance of a harmonious marriage. Neighbors helping each other and not fighting are virtues upheld by Chaganhada villagers for hundreds of years. Every year, during the neighborhood festival, it is customary for neighbors who have had conflicts to resolve them and apologize to each other. The day of the festival is the deadline for making amends with their neighbors. Kan Fu-ping, who lives in the east of the village, is wearing his new outfit today and has liquor and a nice meal prepared. What is he up to?
I am going to apologize for planting on my neighbor's land. I thought his land was my land, and I argued with my neighbor as if I was in the right. I even cursed and said, "Don't you know how much land you have? Mind your own business."
How did you figure out that it wasn't your land?
I checked the ledger. The amount of land each person has is recorded in the ledger. I planted on over 200 square meters of my neighbor's land. That is 0.3 acres. I planted on someone's land and swore at him. That was terrible of me. I deeply regret my actions.
아이, 달아이신 대신 보러 어서부터 이렇게. 도로 묻지 하다.
The Mongolians worship the gods of heaven, and they treat the blue kata as most sacred. It symbolizes eternity, willpower, and
It
loyalty.
was wrong of me to plant in your land. I'm here to apologize. Please forgive me.
If the other party accepts the kata, it means that one forgives the other. The family accepting the apology will invite the other to stay, believing that guests should be served wine and treated well. In this way, Chaganhada village has remained crime-free for hundreds of years. This is likely owing to the fact that neighbors get along and respect one another. The elders play a key role in managing and maintaining ties within the village. They keep a close watch on everyone and resolve conflicts as they arise. It is the day before the neighborhood festival. Bai Baoshan and Party Secretary Wu Shuying are on their way to the house of Han Futsai. His neighbors have reported several fights over the past few days.
Can you make a living playing mahjong alone? Tell me, can you live on that?
You are doing nothing but drinking all day long.
Someone bought
You
me
don't
drinks
even come
and I
back
was
home.
happy to oblige.
And that is your excuse?
How can we live like that every day?
If you can live like this, I can. If you can't, I can't either.
You are always upset when I come back home.
I take it that you wouldn't have this issue if you don't play around and drink all the time. You were living a good life. You have good children. You're giving your children a hard time by fighting like this.
I didn't want to fight all the time. She keeps on going, like this. This happens a lot. We are busy with farm work right now. But she keeps playing mahjong every day. Tell me, how can I not be upset when she does that?
Everyone enjoys playing mahjong, but you cannot let that get in the way of your life. What about your drinking? It is true that everyone drinks, but there are limits to drinking. You cannot get drunk all the time and ignore what is going on in the house. You're the man of the house and you're responsible for the household.
We shall work together to resolve this issue.
When one family has difficulties, everyone comes to help out. The villagers believe that as long as you work together, you can get things done. The Andai dance is a representation of this. Andai is an ancient mystical dance that the Mongolian Legian tribe used to treat psychological disorders. The Andai is a cultural heritage that is performed during the neighborhood festival every year. Sun Chuan, who is a sixth-generation Andai practitioner, along with his teacher Erdun Sang, has been working on teaching and preserving this art. Erdun Sang, who is now 78, still recalls the first time he saw an Andai performance.
I first saw an Andai when I was 10 years old.
How many people were dancing at the time?
Oh, everyone was involved in the dancing and the festivities. For something like Andai, the more people participating, the merrier. Even people from nearby villages came. They would dance with us for 2 to 3 hours, and when they were done, we were done. And then we continued the next night. Each and everyone was keen to help out those who were sick and distraught in life, to alleviate their pain and suffering.
Andai requires solidarity from the entire village to help those in need. Only in coming together will they succeed.
The entire village gathered to sing and dance, to communicate with those who were sick and distraught with life. Those who were sick were cured by this traditional dance. It was a way of helping people. It was psychological treatment in a way. It is a way to cure people's diseases. It also shows the tradition of harmony, and it proves to us that tradition can still be relevant in our lives.
Today, the dance is no longer used to treat illness. it has taken on different purposes, like exercises for the young and dances for the elderly. But at its core, the spirit of harmony and collaboration have not been forgotten. Chaganhada has only 170 households, but has witnessed 174 college students since the founding of the People's Republic of China. Bai Tian-song is one of them who finished school here. He graduated from Nankai University 5 years ago and now works as a financial analyst. The neighborhood festival is considered the second most important day of the year after Chinese New Year. Most villagers who have left come back home on this special day, even if they work far away. Bai Tian-song is no exception. Each time Bai Tian-song returns for the festival, his mother Wu Shou-ying makes it a point to bake a special pie for him. The pie's recipe has been around for 300 years. The reason Wu Shou-ying bakes this pie for her son is because it represents good wishes. Ancestors refer to the baking of this pie as harmony, and the process with which it is made with knives and hands represents unity. When the first batch of pies is cooked, instead of diving in himself, Bai Tian-song brings them to his oldest relatives. Chaganhada villagers love to share. Sharing is not only important for promoting harmony among people, but it is also part of the core of the upcoming neighborhood festival. After lunch, Bai Tian-song helps his relatives harvest corn. Over 300 years ago, animal husbandry was the main source of income in Chaganhada. 50 years later, it became an agricultural village. For years, the village's staple crop has been corn. But Bai Tian-song has other ideas.
Corn is different from other crops. We don't have a well in the village. We're dependent on the weather. We get a good harvest when there's plenty of rain. But when there's a drought, the harvest suffers. I began thinking about this 2 or 3 years ago, and I hope to explore it further. My family members are old, and it's hard for them to work in the field. I was hoping to grow some cash crops, such as fruit trees. Apples, pears, and jujubes will all flourish here.
The value of respect and helping others was taught to Bai Tian-song at an early age. Whenever he returns, he helps out in any way he can. He has brought the Chaganhada spirit to his work in the city. Within 2 years of graduating, his hard work has earned him the position of assistant to his company's managing director. Bai Tian-song's story is not unique. Many people like him are writing their own chapters elsewhere in the Chaganhada village's story. It is the day of the neighborhood festival. All the villagers put the food items they have prepared into big pots and make congee with rice and lamb. They call it sacred congee. Not only does it represent the villagers' teamwork, but it also carries their best wishes. Meanwhile, on the other side of the square, Xing Guoxi, another villager, has invited some people as witnesses. He wants to apologize to his neighbor Hang Ruidian for blocking the road between their two houses.
First off, I want to apologize to you in front of everyone today. I took up the road when I was building my house, which damaged our relationship. I am sorry, my brother. I am deeply sorry. Please forgive
Brother, it's a thing of the past. I was not entirely blameless myself. Don't be too hard on yourself.
The villagers of Chaganhada have a sacred rule to not forget anyone. On the day of the festival, everyone gets a bowl of congee. The 206-year-old festival has had a significant impact on neighboring towns and villages as well.
How many bowls of congee have you had today?
Me? I've had more than 3.
More than 3? Are you a local here?
No, I'm from another village. This congee will bring us together.
I don't believe you are a local, are you?
My father was. He was born and raised here. He was the first villager to have graduated from college. And since I am his son, I am considered a villager as well. There is a well in my father and grandfather's house. I come by and drink from it every time I visit.
Please receive this kata.
Everyone gets to partake of the sacred kanji. In fact, the party secretary and some representatives go door to door to serve some to the elderly with mobility issues. At the core of neighborhood culture is respect. To respect is to bow your head to another, to be humble and modest. The spirit of giving, respecting the elderly, loving the young, apologizing when one is in the wrong, are all practiced in the daily lives of the people here. Chaganhata villagers intend to keep both the festival and this neighborhood spirit going. One wishes that this beautiful village will forever be peaceful and happy for generations to come.